And of course, you have the old saw that a man who represents himself in court has a fool for a lawyer. But my experience in the courts led me to believe that you have to update that today, that any man who hires a lawyer is a fool. Any more questions? Yes.
You made a reference to alien influence.
Uh-huh.
Was that on the Federal Reserve System or on the government, or what did you mean by that?
Well, that's on everything, because the American government today is a paper tiger. It's run by various international agencies, and of course you have your congressmen, and you have your Supreme Court, and you have your president and his cabinet in Washington, but they're all put there by somebody else. They were not put there by the American people. They were put there by people who put up the money for their campaigns for various reasons of their own, and they're not answerable to you. They're only answerable to the people who hold their notes, and this is the problem. And on most issues of national policy, surveys have shown that the American people oppose 85% of the present policies of the American government. So we were being run by a small minority. Yes?
So what are the solutions? What are the things that we can do as individuals to help, solve the problem with the banking system, and also in light of the inflation? You mentioned earlier that the American paper dollar is worth only 1 cent from its original value. What can we do to protect ourselves against inflation?
Well, when you have an agency like the Federal Reserve Board, which can run the value of the dollar up and down every day like a window shade, it's pretty hard to protect against that. So most investment analysts will give you fairly good advice that you should have a certain amount in gold, certain amount in stocks, certain amount in real estate, certain amount in cash. And that's the way most people are operating today. With this kind of situation, and with inflation and ever-present possibility, and they've got the mechanism set up to create as much inflation as they want to. So your best protection is to have a fluid position and not be locked into one particular investment, not to have all your money in one bank and a certificate of deposit and that sort of thing, because then you have a much better chance of riding through whatever crisis they're going to cook up. Because, as I point out in the Rape of Justice, the whole idea of the law merchant, which is the law that we're under, not constitutional law, is to convert real property into debt. Our legal system, our medical monopoly, our monetary system are all designed to rob you of whatever real wealth you have and to put it into the hands of international bankers. They use the courts, they use the banking system, and they use our political system for that goal. In other words, these people are not playing tag. They are serious about robbing you and enslaving you for the rest of your life. And of course, one of the primary methods that they do that is through the medical monopoly, which I mentioned, Murder by Injection, which was my latest book. And the fluoridation of water, which chemically lobotomizes the people, the chlorination of water, which creates atherosclerosis, because by the chlorination of the water, and chlorine and fluorine, by the way, were surplus waste products of the big corporations, which they were spending a lot of money to get rid of. The chlorine was left over from World War I, and they had no use for it whatsoever. So they put it in the water, and they said, we're making your water safe to drink. Well, the chlorine also reacts with the fats in your diet to deposit fatty deposits through your arteries, which causes strokes and heart attacks. And after the chlorination of public water supplies, the heart attack ratio mounted astronomically in this country, and it's continued high every year. So they tell you to jog, and they tell you not to eat any butter and so forth, but as long as you're drinking that chlorinated water, you're going to get a heart attack. If you never touch butter again in your life, you're still going to get it. So, and the fluoridation, of course, works on your kidneys and your liver. It's a very toxic poison, which was a waste product of the Aluminum Corporation of America. And in the budget of Alcoa, they had a serious crisis how to dispose of this waste product without incurring many millions of dollars of expense. So they put their general counsel, a man named Oscar Ewing, in Washington as head of the Federal Security Agency, which also controlled the U.S. Public Health Service. And they gave Oscar Ewing a $750,000 cash bribe to put fluoridation in through the U.S. Public Health Service. This is a matter of congressional record. I have the actual page from the congressional record. It was put in there by Congressman Adolph Miller of Nebraska. So Oscar Ewing had the U.S. Public Health Service lobby for adoption of fluoridation of the water supply of every major city in the United States. One of the first cities to be fluoridated was Washington, D.C. itself. And immediately all of the congressmen installed big water tanks in their water bottles in their offices of pure mountain water. And one senator even went to a restaurant and he carried his own flask of water. He said, "I wouldn't kill myself by drinking any of that stuff." So these are the people that we elect to represent our interests. And the medical monopoly today is really, I call it murder by injection, because they are poisoning the people of the United States. They are producing a more and more submissive population, which is drugged, which is ill, which does not have the strength or the energy to fight back against the encroachments of our aggressive bureaucrats. This is the situation that we're in today. Now you say, what is the solution? First of all, it's like a diagnosis. When you're ill, you have to have a diagnosis. You have to diagnose what is going on today, and then you have to decide what kind of treatment you need to save your life, and you've got to get busy on that treatment. So that's where we are today. Well, I think that, thank you very much for your attention, and I've enjoyed being with you this evening.
Thank you very much.